Welcome to Exploring Mystère, where presence meets enchantment and the unseen stirs into existence. I'm Stephanie Foley, your guide into the wilds of wonder, where curiosity meets intuition, embodied wisdom, and ancient mystery systems. Each episode opens a portal. So, take a breath. Let your senses soften. Suspend disbelief and enter with me into the mystery. I had a dream where the keys were missing. I was in a parking lot and my car was there, but the keys were gone. I had left the keys in the car for reasons that dream logic just didn't explain. And now the keys were missing, but the car was still there. And I hadn't locked it, so I assumed that the keys must have been stolen. And I started to imagine they must have rifled through the glove box and maybe got my address. And are they going to come to my house? And my mind started to kind of spin out like in just fear and confusion in the dream. And then the dream flashed forward and I was home. Somehow I'd gotten there without the keys because I was home with the car in the driveway. I can see it out of the corner of my eye. The car's there. And I'm walking into the house trying to figure out, what are they going to do with my address? Am I safe? And I'm climbing up the stairs to my front porch. And I'm like, why would they steal the keys but not the car? And it was in that mid-thought, like mid-step, that I total stumble. My foot caught the stair and I fall and it jolted me awake. And then that was the end of the dream. It was extra weird. It really stayed with me. It was something about it niggled at me in a way like, what in the world did that mean? Like I felt like it meant something. Okay, so I go on with my day, and later that morning I'm checking in with my online community, and I post some questions to get people talking. And one of them was something about, do you remember your first car? Or maybe it was your first purchase or something. And it was from maybe weeks prior, and someone had left me a comment. So I went in and I read the comment, and I had shared in the story that when I was 13, I had gotten my first job and started saving half of every paycheck for college because I knew my parents couldn't really help me with college, and I worked hard and I was really focused. And by the end of high school, I had a couple $1,000s saved. And back in, the late 80s, that was a good chunk of change. But I had gotten some scholarships. And so I knew I would have some help with college with these scholarships. And so I decided I would buy a car instead. So I've told that story like for 30 years because that's how long, over 30 years. But she actually said, you know what? I'm really proud of you. That was the comment she left me, was that she was proud of me. And it struck an emotional chord. Like, younger me was so seen and felt like finally, in over 30 years that I've told that story, no one has ever said that. No one has ever responded with, wow, look at the gumption that young person had. No one ever acknowledged my maturity, my discipline, the sheer amount of effort that it took to have this accomplishment. In that moment, I saw my younger self as I now see my own 17-year-old kid, full of potential, integrity, drive. And I realized I'm proud of my 17-year-old self as well. Oh, she was a force, not just in action, but in essence. And while at the time she didn't feel like the world really acknowledged her much, I am here to acknowledge her now. The synchronicity of that acknowledgement coming the same morning that I had this weird dream was sort of like, it was about the car. So I had this sense of like, this younger me chose the direction. I took agency. I made steps in a future I believed in, and reaped the rewards of that. And that's when it clicked that both in the dream and in real life, that car is like a symbol of freedom, agency, ability to move from one place in life to another. That, well, agency. And so I realized, like, in the dream, the car never actually was stolen. The keys were taken. Or not. Maybe I misplaced them. Like, the car, the agency, my agency, was never taken. I still got home. Even in the dream, I got home without the keys. So why would I just assume that they were stolen? That's the most disempowering thought in the whole gamut of possibilities that they could be, that it's outside of my control, that someone just took something from me, that something else holds the power over my journey about the keys to how I move from one place in life to another. And yes, this is a lot of deep thought over a silly dream, but that's what I specialize in. That's what I do. So, what for most of my life has been accusatory sighs of, lady, you think too much, is something I thoroughly enjoy, finding the rich symbolism and synchronicity and messaging that comes from the unseen realms, from our own unconscious, because this was a key, pivotal aha moment for me. In the dream, I got home, I made it. I am resourceful. The keys, whether they were lost, stolen, or dreams scattered, it doesn't matter. They didn't actually stop me. The keys did not stop me. What tripped me up was not the missing keys, it was believing that my power could be stolen in the first place. That belief was what was literally tripping me up the stairs in the dream. It literally tripped me up to believe that my power could be stolen in the first place. And that tangled worry that, what will somebody maybe do with the keys? Did they get my address? Are they going to come to my house? It was a distraction. It blocked my vision. It it tripped me up along my ascension, along my path. It kept me from realizing I was already safely home. In the dream, I was already safely home. But I couldn't feel it because I was so distracted by that fear. And so this is so true of emotions. Like every strong emotion, it's a bundle. It's a tangled weave of beliefs and stories and hopes and fears and memories, and when we're in that bundle of confusion and fear and uncertainty, we just can't see clearly. And when we pause, which I just did, pause, then we can witness the tangle instead of reacting to it. And then something magical can happen. Understanding can come. Clarity. Possibilities reappear. Resourcefulness returns. Power comes back into the body. That first car represented my freedom. It was my self-direction. It was earned. It was mine. That car is my agency. And those keys, they were some form of perceived access to my agency. Some part of me wasn't taking ownership of control of that part of myself, perhaps. So I tripped because I believed someone else could actually take what's mine. And the keys to my freedom and agency are not actually what I assumed. They're not really something that can be stolen. The fear came from thinking they could be stolen. So that right there is an awakening. I'm not at the mercy of what's being taken. I don't need permissions. I don't need perfect circumstances. I'm resourceful. That's my nature. In fact, resourcefulness, that gift of resourcefulness is my main gene key, if any of you follow gene key. If you don't know much about that and you're curious and you want to learn more, reach out. But if you just need the gist of what this message is about, just because I came in with that kind of a capacity doesn't mean I'm the only one who has that kind of capacity. And any of these things in our astrology, gene keys, human design, they're tools. They're helpful tools. And I always say, don't mistake the tools for the progress. So while I may have this special knack of resourcefulness, that is not the key to this message. This message is about our own inherent agency and power and whether or not that can be stolen. If you ever thought your power was something that could be stolen, I want to leave you with this message. You are the keeper of your keys, even if you think they've been stolen. You still carry the power to move forward. Your agency cannot be stolen, it is sovereign. So, what have you maybe assumed was lost or stolen that might simply be waiting to be reclaimed? Thank you for joining me on this journey through exploring Mystère. Remember, you don't have to solve all the mysteries. You only have to wonder what happens when you invite enchantment into your life. Wisdom is always near, shimmering in the spaces between thought and form. So if you felt something stir within you, follow it. I'd love to hear about your dreams, synchronicities, and questions that are part of this living field we are co-creating. To explore further, you can visit us at moonfeatherhollow.com for courses, coaching, and lunar tools like our Dream War of Moonlit Alchemy. This is our guided journal for dream weaving and intuitive reflection. And if exploring Mystère feels like home, please share it with a fellow seeker or leave a review. Your voice is part of the living field. Until next time, may you walk gently with the mystery and let the shimmer show you the way.